How's it going, fam? Welcome back to Erica's EDC. And today we're doing some final testing with the Seedy Knives Skinny Dude in CPM 1V at 62 HRC. Sorry if I sound sick. I caught a cold, so I probably sound annoying, but we're just gonna go on with the video here. It is very cold here in New Hampshire, so the jackets have been taken out of storage. But we're gonna do some camp stuff with this real quick, just for some final kind of thoughts and performance on this knife here. Seedy knives are meant to be used. They're definitely meant to be used outdoors, I would say. And this is an outdoor paring knife that he makes, but it is very capable in tasks other than camp cooking. So I just wanted to show you guys that you can do some light batoning with it as well, which I have done before, but we're gonna do some cross batoning today and see what happens. This is 3 30-second stock with a distal taper, so it's extremely thin and not really meant for this. But again, how are we gonna know what these knives can do if we don't push them to the limits? And worst case, it breaks, and Scott knows that it was not like on purpose. I don't think he'll care. So I want to try to, well, actually, we'll baton this in half first. I want to try to do it on the stump because I like this stump. I picked it up off the side of the road. So we're gonna split this in half, and then I want to see if I can cross baton with it and just kind of see how this 1V holds up. It's really high impact toughness steel. So even though it's ridiculously thin, and yes, it does actually flex, it's so thin, it can still baton and do a ton of cool stuff that it's not really meant to do. So I want to see if it can cross baton. And this isn't anything crazy, this is just a little piece of pine, but like, I just want to see how tough this thing really is. Through. Just trying to be careful with my fingers because I always hit them. Every video that I try to do this, because I'm special. We're almost all the way through. I think it's gonna go through just fine. Oh, there's a chunk flying off. Scott's probably like really cringing right now. Man, it doesn't want to go through this last bit. I don't think I have the right surface here. Let's try this. There we go. Hit my hand. We never fail. Okay. Yeah, this isn't really a flat surface, so it's not the best for this stuff, but let's see. Nothing. Nothing. Now you can see this thing is fucking shot. I put a mirror polished edge on this just to see how that process would go, so that I could talk about it in the review. And it was really easy to polish, but obviously it didn't lend to edge retention at all, so it is a butter knife. Absolute butter knife. But you can cross baton with it just fine. Nothing happens. We have no damage whatsoever. But this thing is a little beast. Like absolute beast. So if you had to break down some firewood with your Skinny Dude, you surely can. It's definitely a little more of like an EDC knife, outdoor, you know, paring knife, like I said, but you can do some pretty cool stuff with it. Also, excuse the kids getting out of school, they're gonna be loud. So yeah, you can do some light batoning with this, even though it has a distal taper, even though it's ridiculously thin. Does everything just fine. Especially with that Seedy Vex grind, you have a lot of stability there with that. So The entire blade is a convex grind. Really lends to some great toughness there. Like I showed you, you can cross baton, not a single thing happened to that edge. Nothing. Doesn't happen to anything. Move these out of the way for a second. I don't know if this is gonna just flake apart or if we can do some feathers with it. Yeah, she'll feather. This is very crusty, crunchy wood. But we're definitely getting some curls off of it. So even though this thing is dull as heck, you can still feather stick. It's not like, you know, the easiest thing in the world, but it's not really, I don't know, it's not that tricky. So you can still still get a little pile of curls even when it's dull. I just love this thing. This is just it's a real knife. And I've been having this conversation a lot on Instagram, which, by the way, guys, if you want to see almost like the behind the scenes, follow the Instagram page, because that's where I post all the pictures of what I'm doing, stories of what I'm doing. It's just easier to document the journey of the knife testing on Instagram as opposed to YouTube. But a conversation I've been having a lot with people is, you know, have we strayed too far from the, you know, just primal knife? And I think in a sense we kind of have. This right here is, in my opinion, a real knife. There's no fancy things, there's no gimmicky things. Comfortable handle that fits the human hand perfectly. Blade long enough to actually saw and cut. Thin enough to be efficient within that, but not too thin where it's going to break, obviously. This is, in my opinion, a real knife. And I really enjoy testing and using real knives that are not these gimmicky, super fancy things. Do I enjoy every once in a while testing a really fancy blade that's, you know, $500? Sure, of course. But like, this right here is just a true tool. It just feels natural, I guess. And there's something very special within that. This is, you know, very plain. There's nothing to it. Just micarta scales, distal taper, nice and lightweight. But there's something so special within a real tool that you'll actually be more apt to use. And, you know, that's what Scott's work is. He's an outdoorsman. He is an incredible knife maker. He's very knowledgeable. He really is beyond educated on heat treat, geometry, grinds, everything. Like, this is really where it's at. Again, the fancy things every once in a while are awesome. I am so grateful when I get to test them. I have fancy things coming in for testing. I have one really fancy knife coming in from Canada. It's like a $700 knife or something. It's ridiculously stunning. It's not that I'm not grateful for those, because I am, but this right here is kind of where my heart is at. Just a true tool, a true cutting tool. Seedy knives are just amazing. This has been so fun to test. It's just such a capable little blade, you know, like, it's super lightweight. It feels like about the same weight as a Benchmade bug out. And I just like it. I just appreciate it. I like it. It's fun. Just feels nice to actually use. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really enjoyed testing this one. But you can cross baton with it. You can feather stick with it. again, not that this was a giant piece of wood. It's not. It was just a little pine branch, basically. But you could absolutely get a fire started with this. With that one little tiny piece of branch that was, 10 inches long or whatever. You could totally do a one-stick fire with this and get your fire going with just this little bit of wood. And it really helps when you can actually use that knife to process it all and you don't have to worry about it, I guess. Just cool. I don't know. It's the little things in life, right? So I just wanted to show you that. But the ergonomics are great on this thing. There's nothing about it that I disliked during the testing. Obviously, we'll do a full review on it, but in terms of like outdoor use, it's just great. If you're going to do extensive use with batoning and woodwork and stuff, I would probably go for the regular Dude, just because, again, this is an outdoor paring knife. So, it can baton, it can feather stick, it can start fires, it can do all that stuff. Where this really shines is like outdoor EDC and cooking, like camp cooking. If you're doing extensive woodwork and breakdown of kindling and everything, just because the handle is so, skinny, it's called the skinny Dude. It's the skinnier version of the Dude. I would probably go with the full-size regular Dude, which is completely beefed up. Blade is way wider in this direction. Handle is way thicker. It's just a beefy outdoors knife, which I do have and I will be testing. If you can manage this little guy and manage an outdoor paring knife, I highly recommend it. But if you really beat on your stuff and you're looking for like a dedicated outdoors knife, maybe just go with the Dude, because this is very thin. Okay, very slim in the hand. And if I was, if I were using this for 45 minutes, it probably really wouldn't be that comfortable. But for 5 or 10 to make a one-stick fire or whatever, or just to get that campfire rolling, totally fine. But it is what he says it is. It's an outdoor paring knife. And just for anybody that missed that video that I made dedicated to this sheath, Armis knife and tool, universal paring knife sheath. That's what I ran it in the entire month. Okay? Don't work with Michael at all. Don't have anything from him other than this. But the skinny Dude fits very well in the universal paring knife sheath. You just have to heat the back up a little bit with a heat gun and, stretch that Kydex just a hair. But that's what I ran for the entire month of October for my EDC knife. Okay? Really great setup. Literally outdoor paring knife setup. This thing is awesome at food prep. Love it. So I just wanted to show you guys that it can cross baton if you need to break down little pieces. If for anyone being like, why the hell would you have to do that? A lot of people use those little tiny box stoves. Okay, so if you are on a hike or something and you've got one of those little fold up metal box stoves, they are tiny, guys. They're literally like this big, okay? They're tiny, so you have to put little tiny twigs in them and stuff to keep them going. But if you to get it started, if you want to put some decent chunks in there, cross batoning is useful for little tiny camp stoves like that. So having a branch, that's an inch in diameter or whatever, being able to break down some, miniature logs, if you will, for a little tiny camp stove, it's better than using 200 twigs when you can get some actual heat going in there. Okay, so cross batoning has its place. I'm a big fan of knives or cutting tools to cut things, but there are definitely occasions where we do have to baton, feather stick, cross baton, and it's just cool to know that your knife can handle it without shattering into a million pieces or breaking the tip off or something. It's just helpful for people to know. So there's a little kind of final update on the Seedy Knives Skinny Dude in 1V before we do the final review. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. With that being said, go use your shit. Learn how to sharpen your knives. See you guys on the next video. I love you so much, fam. Take care.